Mindfulness for the Modern World podcast by Orion Windsor. Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest joining us. He's someone whose journey is all about resilience, growth, and transformation. Please join me in welcoming Orion Windsor. Orion is not only a successful entrepreneur, running a thriving milkshake and smoothie bar in the southwest of the UK, but he's also a motivational speaker, life coach, and a powerful voice in the world of personal development. He's dedicated to helping others find strength, overcome challenges, and embrace change. Through his books, available on Amazon, and his popular podcast series, Orion shares profound insights on positivity, mental health, and the art of living a fulfilling life. His personal story is nothing short of remarkable. From facing life's toughest challenges to becoming an inspirational leader, Orion has turned every obstacle into a stepping stone. He's here to share his wisdom, his journey, and some practical tips we can all use to embrace change and find purpose. So without further ado, let's dive in. Orion, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. That was such a warm introduction. I might need to record that and play it every morning to get my day started. I'm really excited to be here and chat about mindfulness and how we can all use it to navigate this modern world.
Let's dive right into it. Orion, mindfulness is one of those terms that's thrown around a lot these days. For someone who's hearing about it but isn't quite sure what it really means, how would you define mindfulness in simple terms?
Great question. Mindfulness is essentially the art of paying attention to the present moment, on purpose and without judgment. It's about noticing what's happening around you and within you, your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, without trying to change or analyze them. Imagine sitting by a river and watching the water flow by. Your thoughts are like leaves floating on that river. Instead of chasing them or trying to stop them, you just watch them drift by. That's mindfulness, a state of awareness and acceptance.
That's such a calming visual. But let's be real for a moment. Life today feels anything but calm. Between work deadlines, social obligations, and the constant pinging of notifications, it's hard to find a moment to breathe, let alone practice mindfulness. How can mindfulness fit into our fast-paced, always-on culture?
That's such a relatable point. And the good news is, mindfulness doesn't require you to escape to a mountain or spend hours meditating. It's about bringing awareness to the moments you already have. For example, instead of rushing through your morning routine, slow down and really be there. Feel the water on your hands as you wash your face, notice the smell of your coffee, or take a deep breath before you check your phone. Mindfulness can also be integrated into activities you're already doing. Stuck in traffic? Take that moment to focus on your breathing. Walking to the store? Notice the colors, sounds, and sensations around you. It's about finding presence in the ordinary.
That makes it sound a lot more accessible. So let's talk about stress. I think we can all agree that stress is a constant companion in modern life. How can mindfulness help us manage stress more effectively?
Stress thrives on overthinking. It's like being in a hamster wheel of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Mindfulness helps you step off that wheel and reconnect with the present moment, where most of those worries don't actually exist. One simple technique I love is called box breathing. You breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold again for 4. It's like hitting a reset button for your nervous system. Mindfulness also helps you build a pause between a stressful situation and your reaction to it. Instead of immediately reacting to a stressful email or a difficult conversation, mindfulness teaches you to take a breath, observe your emotions, and respond from a place of calmness and clarity.
That's such practical advice. Speaking of things that stress us out, let's talk about technology. It's an amazing tool, but it's also one of the biggest sources of distraction. How can we use mindfulness to manage our relationship with technology?
Technology, the double-edged sword of modern life. Mindfulness is about using technology intentionally rather than letting it use you. Start by setting boundaries. For example, have screen-free zones in your day, like during meals or the first hour after you wake up. When you're on your phone, practice mindful scrolling. Ask yourself, how does this make me feel? If certain accounts or content leave you feeling drained or anxious, unfollow or mute them. Mindfulness also means recognizing when it's time to unplug. If you notice that your mind feels cluttered or you're constantly refreshing your feeds, that's a signal to step away and reconnect with the real world.
That's such a helpful perspective. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about balance. Many of us feel like we're constantly juggling responsibilities, and it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. How can mindfulness help us find more balance?
Balance is all about alignment, making sure your time and energy reflect what's truly important to you. Mindfulness helps you pause and evaluate where you're putting your energy. One practical tip is to create mindful check-in moments throughout your day. Now, ask yourself, what do I need right now? Sometimes it's rest, sometimes it's focus, and sometimes it's connection. Mindfulness also teaches you to set boundaries with intention. Saying no to things that don't align with your priorities isn't selfish. It's necessary for creating space for what truly matters.
I think we all need that reminder to set boundaries. Before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you give to someone who's new to mindfulness and isn't sure where to start?
Start small and keep it simple. You don't need to overhaul your life to practice mindfulness. Begin with one mindful moment a day. Maybe it's paying attention to your breath or savoring your tea instead of rushing through it. And remember, mindfulness is a practice, not a destination. It's okay if your mind wanders. That's part of the process. The key is to keep coming back to the present moment again and again.
That's such an encouraging way to look at it. Thank you so much, Orion, for sharing your wisdom and practical tips today. Where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Thank you for having me. You can find my podcast on Spotify. Just search for Orion Windsor, where I talk about mindfulness, positivity, and personal growth. My books are available on Amazon, and I also offer life coaching for anyone who's looking for one-on-one guidance. You can find all the details on my website, orionwindsor.com, or just Google Orion Windsor.
That's fantastic. We'll make sure to link everything in the show notes. Thanks again, Orion, for joining us.
You're welcome, Brian. Anytime.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in.
Take a deep breath, embrace the present moment, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone, and check out Orion's other podcasts. Until next time, bye for now.
Step into the light, let your worries fall. Orion Windsor's here to help you stand tall. With a heart full of hope and a mind so clear, this podcast brings the vibe, no need to fear. This podcast brings the vibe, no need to fear. Orion Windsor here to lift you high. Positivity's the limit, we're touching the sky. Every week we rise, every day we grow. Tune into the podcast, let your light show. Positivity's the limit, we're touching the sky. Every week we rise, every day we grow. Tune into the podcast, let your light show. We rise, every day we grow. Tune into the podcast, let your light show. Orion Windsor, feel the energy flow. This is your moment, let your spirit glow.